Absolutely. He said he's only doing it for the ceremony work. Yeah, I thought so as well.
Good morning. Welcome to the change of command ceremony for Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command and retirement ceremony in honor of Rear Admiral Dean VanderLey. Please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of colors, our national anthem, and the invocation. Bosun, post aside, boys. Bell ringer, strike 6 bells. Rear Admiral, United States Navy, arriving. Bell ringer, strike 6 bells. Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, arriving. Bell ringer, strike 8 bells. Acting Chief of Naval Operations, arriving. Bosun, retire the side, boys. Advance the colors. Retire the colors. Lieutenant Commander Ian McCarthy, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, will now offer the invocation.
I invite you to pray with me. O God, your glory is abundant and never changing. You stretch out your mighty hand across the heavens, upon the surface of the waters, even to the depths of the sea. We thank you for your presence with us this morning, this change of command for Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command. Give us grace and wisdom this morning to both release command and assume command under your guidance. We ask your blessing upon our outgoing commanding officer, Rear Admiral Dean VanderLey, that he would go forth into your truth. We thank you for his years of faithful service. Lord, this morning we also ask for your blessing and wisdom to be on our new commanding officer, Rear Admiral Jeff Kilian, that he would lead beyond his abilities. We thank you for the gift of life, for this beautiful morning, for your presence with us today. It's in your great and holy name we pray. Amen.
Guests, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Rear Admiral Dean VanderLey, Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command and Chief of Civil Engineers. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure. Never mind. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. I'd like to start by recognizing a few distinguished visitors and special guests. Vice Admiral Mike Boyle, Lieutenant General Butch Graham, Rear Admiral Brad Andros, Rear Admiral Carl Lottie, Major General Kim Colleton, Brigadier General Kirk Gibbs, Master Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, James O'Neill, Force Master Chief of the Seabees, Kevin Nolan, the Honorable John Henderson, the Honorable Lucian Niemeyer, the Honorable Phyllis Baer, the Honorable Michael Baer, Mr. Dave Sinicki, Miss Jennifer Latore, Miss Brenda Johnson Turner, Mr. Pete Lynch, Mr. Paul Pollock, Mr. Mark Edelson, Mr. Keith Hamilton, Miss Cindy Riedall, Mr. Mike Keller, Mr. Stephen Straub, Mr. Andy Saunders, Mr. Andy Napoli, Mr. Cale Macias, Vice Admiral Retired Mike Luce, Vice Admiral Retired Dixon Smith, Rear Admiral Retired Mark Handley, Rear Admiral Retired John Corca, Rear Admiral Retired Brett Meilenberg, Rear Admiral Retired Kate Gregory, Rear Admiral Retired Chris Mossy, Rear Admiral Retired Dave Nash, Rear Admiral Retired Lou Smith, Rear Admiral Retired Chuck Kubik, Rear Admiral Retired Kevin Slates, Rear Admiral Retired Tom Gross, Rear Admiral Retired Melvin Chiagie, Rear Admiral Retired Chris Weaver, Major General Retired Mike Weir, Rear Admiral Retired Krista Celta, Fleet Master Chief Delbert Terrell, retired, and Force Master Chief of Seabees, retired, Larry Sharp. And now to our guest of honor and our presiding officer, a native of Pound Ridge, New York, Admiral Kilby is a 1986 graduate of the United States Naval Academy. He's commanded at all levels, including the USS Russell, where he received the Vice Admiral James R. B. Stockdale Award for Inspirational Leadership. Most recently, he served as Deputy Commander, U.S. Fleet Forces Command, and Commander, Task Force 80. Ladies and gentlemen, the Acting Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Tim Kilby.
A
Well, good morning, everybody. Okay, it's good to see you. It's great to be here. And I want to begin with a warm welcome that I'll abbreviate to all the flag and general officers here, senior executive service members, shipmates, and honored guests. Your presence here speaks volumes about the impact of the Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command and its leaders. I want to take a second to put this into perspective. You heard the list, but between active and retired, there's 35 stars here in the audience, and that's quite a testament to the two leaders here today, Jeff, you and Dean. That's a testament to you and your commands and what you've done. So it's not just a change of a command, it's a retirement. Each has an ending, each has a beginning, and we'll work through this this morning, but we want to make sure we sequence those events that are important, right? The change of command and then the retirement. So I'm going to follow that script when I talk to you today. Over the past 4 years under Dean's leadership, NAVFAC has delivered results at scale across the globe and across the mission spectrum. Dean, you and the NAVFAC team readied our bases, made our installations better, and addressed facility issues across the globe. It showed and it's acknowledged. Thank you. Your efforts were focused on one thing: enhancing our warfighting readiness. In fiscal year 2024 alone, you awarded $7 billion of construction contracts, oversaw $18 billion in design, and delivered $6 billion in shipyard infrastructure optimization program projects to modernize our nuclear shipyards. On the financial front, NAVFAC's transition to the Enterprise Resource Planning System marked a major milestone in audit readiness and accountability to the American people. And if you don't think I spend a lot of time thinking about that, I do. I'm sick and tired of standing up at a podium with the Marine Corps where Congress praises the Marine Corps for getting their clean audit, and Navy's going to be right behind them, thanks to you, Dean. The budget submitting office achieved full operational capability ahead of schedule and established new processes foundational to achieving this clean audit. And that clean audit became a reality in environmental liability reporting, the first in Navy history and the first across the Department of Defense. You are leading the way. NAVFAC led the largest utility privatization effort in the Department of Defense history. More than $1 billion to modernize the electrical system at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. You also managed a new safety management system, investing in risk control, hazard mitigation, and proactive safety culture. The results are clear: 29% reduction in lost workdays and a 23% reduction in mishaps. Even under these pressurized timelines, you delivered. NAVFAC completed emergent seismic mitigation projects at 3 strategic dry docks and around-the-clock effort that ensured uninterrupted submarine maintenance and enhanced resiliency against seismic threats. You were a significant part of our effort to add clarity to shore command and control by placing a single line of accountability and authority to our installation commanding officers for installation level maintenance so they can get their jobs done. Together, this team strengthened NAVFAC's ability to deliver for the Navy. NAVFAC's results speak for themselves, and your legacy will continue to shape our infrastructure, our financial health, and our warfighting readiness for years to come. To Dean Bravo Zulu, on your capstone tour, you nailed it. To the NAVFAC team here today, thank you for your extraordinary performance under Rear Admiral Vanderlay's leadership. You set a high bar. Now we look to the future under the command of Rear Admiral Jeff Kilian. Jeff, I see your family in the audience. Just met your wife, Michelle, earlier, and your daughters, Katie, Claire, and Mary. Mary are here with us, and your son-in-law, Luke, and grandchildren, Leo and Oliver. I know each one of them is excited to see what you will accomplish in this role. Admiral Killian brings deep operational experience and a proven track record of leading NAVFAC Pacific during a time of massive growth and strategic realignment.
His command spanned the entire Indo-Pacific, with thousands of personnel supporting Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Special Operations missions across Hawaii, Japan, Australia, Guam, and beyond. Under his leadership, NAVFAC Pacific's annual workload more than doubled, resulting in the Navy's largest ever contract award, the $4 billion dry dock project in Pearl Harbor. Jeff also ensured uninterrupted support during major construction and championed innovative construction methods used to reduce costs and increase speed. Jeff, I had every confidence in your leadership, and NAVFAC is in great hands. Infrastructure is the key to our Navy, foundational to our warfighting mission, and I know you're up to the task with this great team. Okay, now on to you, Dean. You're the man of the hour. I want to acknowledge some of the most important people in your life, your family, and friends. So let me start with Dean's wife, Ashley. Dr. Ashley Vanderlay is a senior advisor at the National Science Foundation and an expert in radio, optical, and infrared telescopes. That means in the Vanderlay household, she's the one who truly understands stars. She is also on the scholarship committee for the National Officers Scholarship Foundation Club. And this club runs an incredible initiative that gives merit-based scholarships to stellar young adults and grants the valued nonprofit organizations who support military families. Ashley, thank you for your support and your continued service. You ran a great group acknowledging people and giving out awards this year, and I was part of it. Thank you for that. Your warmth, intellect, and humor have made every community you've been part of better. I especially want to thank Dean's children, Naomi, Jacob, Isaac, and Grace. Naomi is here with us today. Good to see you. I look forward to meeting you in the crush before the ceremony. I didn't get a chance to do that. While Jacob, Isaac, and Grace couldn't make it, I know they too share in this proud moment. And Dean's brother Scott and his two sisters Lynn and Dawn are also here with us and their families. Thank you each for coming to this milestone event. Dean's friends who have traveled from different parts of the country are here today. Tammy Davenport, Amy Coe, Dave Noteboom, and Steve Berman, welcome. And lastly, Dean's parents. Rod is disappointed he couldn't be here with us today, but sends his wishes and is represented by many of the church members here that joined us for this ceremony. And while his mother Judy is no longer with us, I know absolutely that she is beaming with pride at the impact her son has had on our Navy and our nation. So today we celebrate a remarkable career. Dean is someone who has spent almost 3.5 decades solving problems, strengthening teams, and quietly improving everything he touched. Most of you know Dean is not one to chase the spotlight. But when you take a look at his record and the way people talk about serving with him, you can't help but admire what he's built over a lifetime of service. It's not possible to do that justice to a 34-year career in 10 or 15 minutes. So I'll try to stick to the essentials. I would like to talk about Dean, the problem solver, and Dean, the leader. Dean, the problem solver, is summed up in an exchange he had with his wife, Ashley. She once told Dean he should avoid working in New York City because of the complexity of the infrastructure. And Dean just said, it sounds like fun. He had this attitude before he was building forward operating bases in Afghanistan or sorting out dry dock certifications in Bremerton. At least it started, I think, in his days as a submarine officer. When he found his true calling in the Civil Engineering Corps, I'm told he proudly, while he found his true calling in the Civil Engineering Corps, I do believe he still proudly calls himself a nuke. So Dean was once one of 6 submariners who transferred to the CEC Corps in CEC in 1998. And Brett Meilenberg, Dean's old boss at NMCB 7, joked that the average IQ of the CEC Corps doubled in that year. Truth be told, Dean is the last one of those 1120s still serving with us. If you want a masterclass in technical problem solving in chaotic conditions, look no further than his first CB deployment. As operations officer for Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 7, he was thrown into the fire, literally. In 2003, he led a 250 made it work. A few years later, as CEO of NMCB4, he and his team conducted back-to-back deployments, first in CENTCOM, then pivoting to Afghanistan during the troop surge in 2009. Captain Michael Diaguez, Dean's ops officer at the time, remembers it well. One day they were prepping for a Pacific deployment. The next day, Gene called Miguel and his chief of staff in the office and said, we're gonna go to Afghanistan, make it happen. And they did. The battalion deployed in less than 60 days. No time for long workups or detailed planning. Their arrival doubled the military presence in Afghanistan at the time. And his battalion built complex outposts, taxiways, and wells across 13 sites in regional commands north and east. The highlight was a 300-acre forward operating base at Deidadi, complete with wells for water, security infrastructure, a galley, facilities for 6,000 troops, and 100 aircraft from the 10th Mountain Division and the 82nd Combat Aviation Brigade. That project moved over 400,000 cubic meters of earth, the largest CB earth-moving operation since World War II. Think about that. A box, 3 by 3 by 3. Now multiply that by 400,000. It became the logistics hub for all U.S. forces in Afghanistan. I was able to dig up a report that Rear Admiral Lou Carrillo, CB Regimental Commodore at the time, sent up to his headquarters after visiting Dean at NMCB4 in Afghanistan. Lou reported that in the absence of any clear direction, they moved into theater, determined what needed to be done, and have made it happen, quietly, without any fanfare or griping and moaning. Dean VanderLey's positive approach to the dilemma and the opportunity that they face is inspiring. Dean's team earned the Battle Aid and an Army citation for that mission, and it was later recognized as the Construction Project of the Year by the Society of American Military Engineers. Dean delivered for the commanders, safety ahead of schedule and under fire, and that's what makes him an extraordinary operator, calm, unflappable, and relentlessly focused on getting it done right. What makes all that possible? I believe it comes down to trust. Dean's leadership style is about finding the right people, setting clear intent, and getting out of the way. Miguel said it best. Dean surrounded himself with exceptional leaders, made sure they knew they were trusted, and gave them the room to excel. When the dry docks in Bremerton faced decertification, Dean immediately took ownership, mobilizing NAVFAC to identify and fix the issue without delay. During the Red Hill crisis, He provided decisive technical guidance, working shoulder to shoulder with operational commanders and engineers to move quickly and safely. And even in the toughest moments when timelines were collapsed and conditions were harsh, Dean didn't micromanage. He trusted his team, and because he trusted them, they rose to the occasion. That's the kind of leadership that builds the next generation of leaders. It creates loyalty and camaraderie that lasts long after the deployment ends. He also leads with enthusiasm, sometimes a little more than his doctors would prefer. Dean had a knee replacement surgery in his last tour, and his staff said that hours after the surgery, likely still under the influence of pain medication, he announced that he was ready to run a marathon and reinvent the MILCON process. Well, we're still waiting for that marathon, but he has made a lot of progress on MILCON reform. That was on a Thursday. On the following Monday, while he was supposed to be at home with his feet up, the CNO asked to meet with him. Dean, true expeditionary leader that he is, showed up 3 days after surgery with crutches and ice packs. He walked the halls of the Pentagon, powered through the meeting, but don't let his calm exterior fool you. Dean is super competitive. Dean, I'm not sure if you've heard this story, but Master Chief Sharp told me that at a family day at Point Hueneme in 2008 or 2009, you cut him and his daughter off on the go-kart track so forcefully that it startled her to tears. It wasn't until later that Master Chief Sharp became Dean's operations chief that he realized that person who cut him off was actually the best leader he's ever worked for. Off the racetrack, Dean never takes out his frustrations on others, but he does have subtle tells his staff have observed over time. When he starts speaking faster, rubs his temples, turns mild shades of red, you know it's time to wave off and change the topic. Rear Admiral Dar Bananji said it best: if you can't work with Dean to solve an issue, it's probably your problem. During BRAC in 2005, Dean led a team supporting the impacted naval bases. Every time he checked on Dean's progress, Dar found that Dean was gone for the day. Naturally, he was suspicious until he realized Dean was just working faster, getting the job done, clearing his inbox, solving problems, and making it home in time for dinner. He taught the rest of the team that productivity does not come from working late, it comes from working smart. And although he's a self-professed introvert, Dean's colleagues occasionally get a peek behind the curtain. For example, how many people have met the quietest member of the Vanderlay family, their pet turtle? If you have the privilege of visiting their home, you will see this terrarium that is the envy of all other turtles in the world. It's no surprise that it's the pet of our senior facilities executive. Dean also appreciates the finer things in life, including ballet. And one last detail, and I hesitate to mention this because it seems to be some disagreement on how serious you are about it. The cupcake shop. Dean, I have no doubt that you'll have plenty of time to enjoy all of those pursuits in retirement and more, but I have a hard time picturing you opening up your own cupcake shop. So here we are, one chapter ending, another beginning. Dean, you served our country with integrity, intellect, and humility. You faced tough challenges and made them manageable. You've mentored the next generation of engineers and officers, and you've led by example. You haven't just built bases and airfields, you've built trust, teams, and a legacy. I'm here to thank you, both you and Ashley, on behalf of the Navy, but I have a feeling you're the one who's going to say you're grateful. Enjoy the next chapter, whether that's more engineering, more ballet, or cupcake baking. Fair winds and falling seas to you, Dean. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Killian will now present an award to Rear Admiral Vanderlay. Guests, please rise. Military personnel, attention to award. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Distinguished Service Medal to Rear Admiral Dean A. VanderLey, Civil Engineer Corps, United States Navy, for service as set forth in the following citation: for exceptionally meritorious service to the United States and duties of great responsibility from August 2022 through August 2025, as both Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, and Chief of Civil Engineers. Rear Admiral Vanderlay led his 22,500 person command, delivering $48 billion of facilities planning, design, construction, environmental readiness, energy management, and expeditionary support. His command demonstrated exceptional execution of mission-crucial infrastructure by advancing a $14.8 billion Puget Sound Naval Shipyard multi-mission dry dock and awarded the $4.4 billion Pearl Harbor Dry Dock 3 replacement. He simultaneously led $645 million in industrial plant equipment procurement, modernizing aging 19th and 20th century shipyard infrastructure to support nuclear-powered fleet maintenance. Rear Admiral Vanderlay's superb performance of duties culminated his 35 years of honorable and dedicated military service. By his distinctive accomplishments, exemplary leadership, and deep devotion to duty, Rear Admiral Vanderlay reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest tradition of the United States Naval Service. For the President, signed, Secretary of the Navy. Please be seated. Rear Admiral Vanderlay is also receiving a letter of appreciation from the Secretary of the Navy and a letter of appreciation from the Chief of Naval Operations. Force Master Chief, please escort Dr. Vanderlay and Naomi Vanderlay to the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Killian will now present a letter of appreciation to Dr. Vanderlay and Naomi Vanderlay. Certificate of Appreciation for the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. Greetings. To Ashley Vanderlay and Naomi Vanderlay, by the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express to you the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy for the encouragement and understanding you have given your husband and father throughout his career. The impact a family has on a military member's ability to serve with selfless passion and confidence is immeasurable. Rear Admiral Vanderlay's excellent and important work on behalf of our country was made possible in no small part by your strong support. His accomplishments therefore reflect positively on you, and you have great reason to be proud as he concludes a successful and challenging career. The United States Navy thanks you for your teamwork and sacrifice in support of this nation. Given this 15th day of August 2025, James W. Kilby, Admiral, United States Navy, Acting Chief of Naval Operations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce Rear Admiral Dean VanderLey, Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, and Chief of Civil Engineers.
Thanks very much, ACNO, for your kind words and for being with us here today. It's been a true honor to serve on your charge, sir. And most of all, we're all so happy to be in our Navy team. To everyone out there, thanks so much to the VIPs, the colleagues, the retired admirals, the active admirals, the friends and family that all made it out here today. You're the ones who make this day special. I couldn't be more blessed to have been able to spend over 30 years doing something I sincerely love. After that much time in the Navy, I can tell an awful lot of stories, but what really makes all of this special is the people. So what I'm really going to focus on today is some of the people and the communities of people who made all this work and made all this happen. I have to start with my lovely wife, Ashley. So you've already heard that Ashley is supremely talented, and it's clear I married up like 12 levels. So among other things, Ashley is an astronomer in the National Science Foundation, a PhD astrophysicist. Other times in her life, she's been a college basketball player, a ballerina, a homecoming queen, a valedictorian, a whole bunch of other stuff. But what you all don't know is Ashley's also the best person I know, and I love you so very, very much. And I can't wait for the rest of our adventures, and mostly, I just treasure every day with you. I love you. For my kids, Naomi, Isaac, Jacob, and Grace, being a military kid is not always easy. A lot of moves, a lot of schools, a lot of dad being gone, but you guys all turned out fantastic. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you. Naomi wants me to go back to Hawaii. But I will tell a little quick story about Naomi. So when Naomi was 5, I deployed to Iraq. When Naomi was 10 and 12, I deployed to Kuwait and Afghanistan. And so every time I would deploy, Naomi would search out one of my brown uniform shirts that I was wearing. And the whole time I was gone, she would go to bed in my brown uniform shirts, her own little remembrance. There's not a ton of reason behind that story, although it makes me smile and I find it very adorable. So, and then with Naomi's flowers, she got an authentic NMCD4 deployment t-shirt. In case you need some sleepwear, Naomi, there's another one of your brown t-shirts for you. Unfortunately, my parents can't be here today. My mom passed away a couple of years ago and my dad's health has declined. But I can't imagine better parents. They were wonderful. And we're going to present some flowers to my sister Lynn. But these flowers are really in honor of my mom, who would have loved to have been here, as Acting CEO had mentioned. But both my mom and my dad were wonderful people. My dad, a preacher, but grew up as a South Dakota farm boy, made sure all his kids knew how to work like South Dakota farm boys. So my parents gave me my faith and my love for hard work, and they were loving and wonderful parents. And Lynn, I know you know that, and those flowers are for Mom. I'm also blessed to have all of my siblings here, Lynn, Scott, and Don, and many of their families. In addition to great parents, I had wonderful siblings. We figured out life together as kids, and we grew up to be best friends. Thank you so much for making the trip all the way from Washington State. I was the only black sheep to the left, and I look forward to come back and visiting now and then. I'm also blessed to have wonderful grandparents and uncles and aunts. I have one uncle and aunt here, Uncle Fred and Aunt Sharon. Thank you for being here, all the way from Washington again. I had a great family, grandmas and grandpas that were part of that greatest generation, hardened by the Great Depression and World War II. Grandpas who could build anything, fix anything, outwork anyone, and also knew how to take you fishing. And grandmothers who were supremely loving, and uncles who are not only hard workers, but also a lot of fun. If you talk to Fred, you'll figure that out. Thank you guys for giving me a loving, supportive family that I will always treasure. When I married Ashley, I should have known that there was also a wonderful family behind that. So there is a whole Zotterer clan here when you start to meet them, all 20 of them. So the entire, all the nephews, all the nieces, all the brothers and sisters-in-law, GT and Mom, you are all here. That means so much. I could tell a lot of stories about you, but I will save it for trash talking when we play Nerf gun war down on the rock. So be ready. Face shots totally allowed. Thank you for being here. As an acquisition command, NAVFAC, everything that we do is done in partnership with industry. And I'm honored and blessed to have a lot of senior leaders from industry here today. It means so much. And I will just read a brief list of all the different companies. It's an incomplete list that are represented here today. Just looking over the list, I noticed we had Jacobs, Minicom, Clark, HDR, Black & Veatch, WSP, Stantec, Moffitt & Nickel, Granite Construction, Kimley Horn, Pond, CDM Smith, Dewberry, and many others, and I apologize if I missed you, there were just so many. We also have a couple CEOs in the audience. So I introduced the Honorable John Henderson. John Henderson, also the CEO of HDR, one of the largest engineering design firms in the country. Also, Mr. Bob Fragata is here. Bob is the CEO and president of Jacobs, the largest engineering design firm in the country. But most importantly, Bob is a CV. And Mr. Fragata, we are so proud to have you as a CV. We also have from the Society of American Military Engineers, We have the past president, Sharon Kroc. We have the current president, Mike Hufstetter, and the executive director, Major General Mike Weir. And all of you are representative, all of those industry partners in the Society of Military Engineers collectively represent an industry that's been fantastic partners in everything we do. So Acting CEO talked about some of the things that NAVFAC has done. All of that's been done in partnership with industry. Thank you so much for the collaboration, the cooperation, and when things aren't going well, rolling up your sleeves with us, holding each other accountable, and solving tough problems. I mentioned some of the names before, but you notice there's a couple generals sprinkled in there. Lieutenant General Butch Graham, Major General Kim Colleton, Major General Kirk Gibbs. So collectively, the commander of the Army, the Chief of the Army Corps, Deputy Chief of the Army Corps, and Deputy Chief for Military and International Programs. So the top 3 senior leaders of the Army Corps are all here. It means so much to have you here. I'm really, really proud of the partnership that NAVFAC and the Army Corps have developed throughout my tour. We've really done a lot, I believe, to help move the industry forward and help to do things smarter. Thank you so much for that. Also engaging collectively with Congress, and Mr. Dave Siddiqui from the House Armed Services Committee is here. Thank you, sir, for being here. So Mr. Siddiqui, many of you know him, one of the guys who both holds us accountable to do better, but also sits down with us, seeks to understand what our challenges are, and works together to figure out how legislative he can help. And with that partnership of industry, the Army Corps, Society of American Military Engineers, NAVFAC, and all the other different stakeholders and partners, I feel like we've really moved things forward. When I came into this job, I recognized the most important thing that NAVFAC does is deliver construction projects. We need to be really good at it, and that's been a lot of our effort. We got a long ways to go, but I'm proud of what we did. I'm also proud and excited about Jeff's vision and the way Jeff is going to take that forward, because we got a lot more construction projects coming. We've got a lot of room to improve. My fellow flags, and I listed all your names before, I won't list all your names again. One thing that people don't realize, you think when you're selected to be an admiral, that's some indication that you know it all and are then ready to go do stuff. What you realize when you're selected is you don't know anything. You're starting almost all, you know a lot of things in one way, but another thing, you don't know anything. You're injected into this whole new world where you're like an infant all over again. And so when I was selected in 2019, I had a lot to learn, and an awful lot of flag officers who took me under their wing and showed me what it took to succeed. A number of them are here today. Thank you so much for doing that. I also listed a whole bunch of retired flag officers, most of which are retired Civil Engineer Corps flag officers. And again, I won't list all their names. They all know who they are. And I will not go ahead and tell stories about all of them. But they all have stories about the things that they have done for me, both when I was active duty. I would not be here today if not many of them hadn't taken me under their wing, showed me the way, also looked out for me. I will call out specifically Admiral Mark Hanley. So Mark is the one who promoted me several times, gave me his 06 shoulder bores, gave me his command pin when I was just a baby 05, and said, Dean, I think you can do something special. I didn't believe that, but that level of confidence meant something to me. So all the retired flags did things like that for me. Thank you for being here. The most amazing thing about them, though, I think I listed probably a dozen of them. Most of the prior chiefs of the Civil Engineer Corps are all here. When they retire, they all go and do great things. They've all got more important things to do, but they all stay engaged. Every summer, they all come out here and we talk to them about NAVFAC. They give us advice. It means a lot how much you're engaged. If ever I need advice, I give you a call. You always answer your phone. Sometimes if I don't call, I still get a call if you think maybe we need a little help. But no, that means a lot. You guys have set a wonderful legacy that Jeff and I just hope to be able to live up to. To the great professionals of NAVFAC, Acting CEO gave you a lot of details about everything that NAVFAC has done. You guys are consummate professionals, technically competent, completely dedicated. You clearly don't do it for the glory. You do it because you love it. You do it because the Navy and the Marine Corps need us. Thank you for all you do. I could list a whole bunch of details about billions of dollars in construction, but instead, what I'll do is I'll tell you one story that will be somewhat alluded to about what made NAVFAC special to me. So in 2023, early 2023, a bunch of our dry docks in the Northwest were decertified. And so what that really means is submarines who can't do maintenance. And what that was going to mean in a few short months is submarines not going to sea. That means gaps in strategic deterrence. That means gaps in our national defense, really big problem. And we only had a couple months. These dry docks are really, really old. A lot of them were built in the World War II time frame, when, believe it or not, we intentionally put not enough steel in our dry docks to be able to save steel for the war effort. So these were dry docks that were inherently poorly seismically performing, nowhere close to anything resembling compliance with seismic code, and we had to fix it in a couple of months. We didn't even know how to do it. I told the team publicly, we don't have any option but to succeed. I knew privately that might be impossible. But we had some fantastic engineers. I think Dave Kerfman is here, he's since retired. Raise your hand, Dave, somewhere. Calvin Austin, somewhere here. One of our senior, I think Calvin's here somewhere. There he is, raise his hand. So Calvin is one of our senior structural engineers. They led a team of engineering professionals that very, very rapidly did some really, really complex work, hand in hand with engineers from NAVFAC and Naval reactors. So believe it or not, when they design submarines, one of the design considerations is what happens when dry docks fall on them. So how that interaction between us modifying the dry dock to change those failure modes and the NAVFAC and Naval reactors engineers understanding the implications of what happens during these different failure modes was extremely complex. Partnered with some of the engineers that are best that our country has to offer, solved this problem really, really quickly. Within a matter of weeks, we had contractors on board doing work. Cindy Riedall somewhere, our lead contracting officer. Cindy, raise your hand. There you are, Cindy. So Cindy and her team of contracting professionals, normally this would be like weeks and months to get a contractor on board. In this case, it was hours and days. We had a fantastic construction contractor on board. We were doing work while the engineers were still finalizing how to do it. And frankly, as we were in the work, we still had a lot of things to figure out. I sent a team who was very enthusiastic about leading his job as my chief of staff, Jorge Cuadros. So he was a little hurt feelings about that. But he was on the plane within hours, handpicking the best construction management professionals that we had to all descend on the Northwest to manage this project 24/7, working really complex jobs to make all this construction work. And in a matter of only a little over 3 months, we had dry docks coming back into certification, so no mission impact. When you do it right, you don't always hear about it, but you guys did it right. And that day when you guys started bringing that on, I've never been prouder to be the commander of NAVFAC, and the work that you did in collaboration with NAVFAC, Naval Reactors, industry, and all those hard workers out there in the Northwest was something to be extremely proud of, and I'll be proud of that for the rest of my life. So that's just one story that I could repeat a bunch of them about why I love NAVFAC so much. And finally, my beloved Seabees. So again, I could tell you a lot of stories about the history of the Seabees. You can read that yourself. There's even a movie. But what I will do is tell you one story that made me proud. Acting Keynote talked about some of it. We went to Iraq in 2007. That was an amazing experience. I will tell you, my commanding officer at the time was Brett Weilenberg, who ultimately became the chief of civil engineers. He will tell you, I wasn't always on top of it from the beginning. He could tell you a story about a 16-hour convoy that was a total disaster. That was our first meeting between us, because I was in Iraq, he was taking command in Kuwait. It was after he had experienced this convoy. The consummate gentleman, he said, "Dean, we need to work on this." Instead of, I was ready to be fired. So thank you, sir. But the story I will tell you is about when we went to Afghanistan a number of years later. Short cycle into Afghanistan on very short notice. Admiral Mark Hanley was commander of 1st Naval Construction Division. I think he may be responsible for that. We got a phone call on Christmas Eve saying, "You're going." We had our advanced party on planes the first week of January. The officer in charge of that party was now Captain Miguel Dieguez, and working hand in hand with now retired Force Master Chief Larry Sharp. They got on planes, nothing but all the tools they could carry, all their gear, and weirdly a bunch of hockey sticks from Master Chief Sharp. That's a story for another day. But those guys hit the ground in northern Afghanistan. A couple Army brigades coming in. We didn't know exactly what they needed. We just knew they needed a lot of it. So then Lieutenant Commander Dieguez, Master Chief Sharp, and a couple hundred Seabees figured it out. Started doing construction all over northern Afghanistan, building forward operating bases. Phenomenally successful. And then the one story that I will also tell is while we were doing all that work, so we were working for the Army, because a couple Army brigades coming in. So our higher headquarters is actually over in eastern Afghanistan, very mountainous. So I got a call from them saying, hey, we have an avalanche up here in the mountains of Afghanistan on one of our supply routes, and it's creating a choke point. Our convoys are getting lit up. We don't have anybody out here who can fix it. What do you think you guys should do? So we tapped our best equipment operator, who was in equipment operator first class, Glenn Goodwin. I think Glenn's in the top. Glenn, you gotta raise your hand. There he is. He's standing up like a good CV. He ended up being a senior chief later. But as a first class petty officer, we sent him out to Eastern Afghanistan saying, hey, see what you think about this. He came back and said, give me the right team, the right equipment, and some air cover, and we'll do it. So we fired out. Glenn picked his team. The Army gave him all the equipment he needed. The Army provided continuous rotary wing air cover. The Air Force even pitched in with some fixed wing when he needed it. And they went out there. They actually had to rebuild the project. Was crazy remote. The problem with trying to fix it was that you actually couldn't get the heavy equipment up there because the roads were too remote and expeditionary, and it was under constant attack. So Glenn actually his team had to repair the roads to get up there, get their heavy equipment up there, remove the avalanche, fix the road, improve the road, all the while spending part of their days taking cover behind their armored heavy equipment, returning fire, and the Army and the Air Force beating back the bad guys so they could continue their work. And in only a few weeks, they fixed the problem. They reopened that main supply route, eliminated a choke point, saved a lot of American lives that would have otherwise been subject to ambush as they were trying to wind their way through there. So it's another great example. I could tell you a lot of stories forever, but what Glenn and his team did up there, you can imagine how proud I was. I was never there, right? So that's what the CVs do. We send our very best. They figure it out. They get it done. And you can imagine how proud I was when I was telling Admiral Handley about what we were doing and that we had succeeded. And that's what made me so proud to be a CV. To this day, when people ask what I do in the Navy, I just tell them I'm a CV. And I can't think of a more proud title. To the day I die, when people ask what I did in the Navy, I'll tell them I was a CV. I think it's the most proud title. Now, I talked a lot about the desert. When I was in the CVs, that's what we were doing. We were going to the desert. But the proudest moments and the finest hours of the CVs were out in the Pacific, helped the Marine Corps and the island hopping campaign in World War II. All those islands are important again, Tinian and Palau and Gap and Guam and all those places. And the CVs are ready for that. The CVs are already there in those cases. And I will say it's a little bit different than World War II. In World War II, we had 300,000 CVs. We have a small fraction of that this time around. So it'll be different. It'll require a team of CVs, of NAVFAC, of industry, all working together. Admiral Killian's got a plan for that. He's even got a name for that. And we're practicing it right now. And so the CVs will have great days ahead. And I'll be forever proud to look at what you guys are doing. So when you walk away from doing something you love, it's really, really hard. And you can probably just tell, I've been so blessed to be able to do something I really, really love for 34 years. And it would be really, really difficult if I wasn't turning over the keys to somebody like Jeff Kilian. Acting Keynote talked about some of it, but I will tell you, Jeff was built for this. So Jeff is commanded at all levels. He's worked with me. He's even had to follow me. So when he took over for me in Hawaii, I famously told him, Jeff, there's a couple loose ends. He probably gets like Tourette's syndrome when I do that. There were a few loose ends, but Jeff has been fantastic. He's led our most complex project. He solved really difficult problems. He understands the business of NAVFAC like no one else. He's the right guy to lead NAVFAC. He's also commanded CVs at all levels. He was a regimental commander in the Pacific, leading CVs across the Pacific. He gets it. Jeff started out his career as an enlisted Marine, spent 4 years in the Marines. He's a warfighter in the Corps. Everything he does is about supporting the warfighter. He understands what's expected of the CVs, what's expected of NAVFAC to support the Navy and the Marine Corps. Jeff just flat out gets it. He's the right guy to lead NAVFAC. Acting CNO, the Navy got this one right. Jeff's the right guy at the right time in history to lead NAVFAC and lead the CVs. I will now read my orders.
Guests, please rise. Military, attention to orders.
CNO orders 0835. Subject, retirement orders for Rear Admiral Dean VanderLey, Civil Engineer Corps, U.S. Navy. Your request to be transferred to the retired list was approved by the Secretary of the Navy, effective 1 October 2025. You will be transferred to the retired list in the grade of Rear Admiral. Relieved in August 225 from duty as Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, and Chief of Civil Engineers. I'm ready to be relieved. Captain Spinks, haul down my flag.
Aye, sir. Haul down Rear Admiral Vanderlay's flag. Rear Admiral Vanderlay will now be presented his personal flag by Force Master Chief Kevin Nolan. Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Jeffrey J. Killian, United States Navy. I will now read my orders. Keynote Order 0225. When directed by Reporting Senior, detach in July 2025 from duty as Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, Pacific and Fleet Civil Engineer, United States Pacific Fleet. Report no later than August 2025 to Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command Headquarters, Washington, D.C. as Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command and Chief of Civil Engineers. Sir, I'm ready to relieve you. Captain Spinks, break my flag. Aye, sir. Break Rear Admiral Killian's flag. Guests, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Jeffrey J. Kilian, United States Navy, Commander, Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command, and Chief of Civil Engineers. Good morning. I will not repeat the long list of distinguished visitors, but I thank all of you so much for coming to celebrate Admiral Vanderlay's career, his tour as commander of NAVFAC, the chief of civil engineers, and to welcome me aboard. I would just like to thank for all of my friends that have traveled far, from far distances or far places to support me. I appreciate that. And I won't call you out by name, but trust me, I'm very appreciative. Admiral Kilby, sir, I'm grateful for your presence here today, the kind words, and for the confidence you have placed in me to lead NAVFAC and the Civil Engineer Corps. I will keep my remarks short, but I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't acknowledge some very important people that helped me get to where I am today. First and foremost, to my wonderful wife, Michelle. All right, dear, here we go again. Next chapter. Thank you so much for your unconditional love and support. To my three daughters, our three daughters, Claire, Mary, Katie, Luke, my son-in-law, and our grandsons, Leo and Oliver. I'm so proud of all of you. I love our family, and I'm grateful every day for the blessings God has given me. It is a privilege to be back in Washington with our family. Been separated for a few years now. I want to thank my family for all their sacrifices they made throughout my career. I couldn't have asked for a better family, period. To my friends and colleagues who traveled the great distance for today's ceremony, thank you all for coming and making today very special. All of you have supported and tolerated me these many years. You're my secret weapon. Thank you. Thank you to Admiral Dean VanderLey. You've been a fantastic boss for the last 3 years, a great mentor for many, many years before that. Thank you. I've always valued your strategic vision and the way you lead our organization and the community. You are a brilliant officer, and your leadership will be dearly missed. And to Ashley, thank you so much for your support and help during our transition back to DC. Thank you. I want to thank our industry partners that are here today. Admiral Vanderlay mentioned many of them. I will not repeat that. But I am confident that with your support and ingenuity, we will continue to answer the nation's call to deliver construction that enables the warfighter, our battlefield effects. We will leverage Poseidon's corollary to take advantage of your expertise during these challenging times, particularly in the Western Pacific. As the Chief of Civil Engineers, I'm inspired by the talented men and women in our community. I am proud of you and your accomplishments. Thank you and your families for your unwavering dedication to the Navy and the Civil Engineer Corps. We are the Department of Navy's uniformed professional engineers and architects, entrusted with the enduring mission to build, maintain, and sustain the Navy's shore infrastructure across the full spectrum of military operations. Our work enables the warfighter and ensures the Navy and Marine Corps team is operationally ready, responsive, and resilient anywhere, anytime. We are duty-bound to add knowledge, new concepts, exercise good judgment, and by professional attitude and performance, contribute to the prestige of our profession as naval officers and engineers. I'm incredibly honored to lead a community that is shaped by credibility, toughness, professionalism, and vision. We will honor our history while building towards a future worthy of our service. And finally, a big thank you to the Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command. Later today, I will release the 2025 NAVFAC Strategic Plan. This plan outlines our commitment to delivering innovative engineering solutions and supporting the critical infrastructure directly impacting the lethality of our warfighters. I say focus and excellence in the basics will make NAVFAC extraordinary. Keep the main thing the main thing. Construction, engineering, and contracting. It is imperative that we accelerate the speed of delivery on our construction projects, meeting mission-critical deadlines while ensuring we are good stewards of the finite resources our leadership has entrusted to us. We must continue to hone our engineering expertise to deliver unparalleled technical excellence to the warfighter, and we must improve the agility of our contracts to keep pace with our adversaries in this dynamic global environment. As we chart our path forward, I see tremendous opportunity to become more efficient and fiscally responsible organization, underpinned by exceptional technical acumen, unwavering professionalism, and the Navy core values. Our leaders have set clear expectations, and with focus, effort, technical proficiency, and innovative ideas, we will deliver, exceeding all expectations. I close with a quote from Admiral Nimitz. On 17 December 1941, roughly 10 days after he had been after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and he was subsequently notified that he would take United States Pacific Fleet. He wrote a short note to Admiral Ernest King, CNO. Quote, "It is a great responsibility, and I shall do my utmost to meet it." Close quote. Those words capture the weight of the task ahead, and I pledge to meet it with the same dedication. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, AC. Old Glory detail. Post. At this time, a retirement flag that was flown over Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 4 will be presented to Rear Admiral Vanderlay in the passing of the flag presentation, a symbolic gesture of gratitude for his 35 years of faithful and honorable service to the United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, Force Master Chief Retired Larry Sharp will now read Old Glory. Detail. Mark time. Mark. Detail. Halt. Listen, about. Hey.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant, and I am proud. When I'm flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted, and I am respected. I'm revered. I'm loved, and I'm feared. I fought in every battle, in every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Oregon Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, Afghanistan, and scores of long forgotten places by all except by those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill in Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, tired, but my sailors and Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I was at Ground Zero in New York City on September 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of a once proud building by brave firefighters and heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America although bloody, will never be beaten. Those who would destroy me cannot win, for I am the symbol of freedom. I am one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have been soiled, burned, torn, trampled in the streets of my own country, and it is by those who I have served with in battle it hurts, but I shall overcome. For I am strong. I have slipped the surly bonds of the earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over uncharted new frontiers of space. I have been a silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hours come when I am torn to strips, diffused bandages on my wounded comrades on the battlefield, when I fly at half-mast to honor the sailors and Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the gravesite of her fallen son or daughter. I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may it wait, dear God, long may it wait.
Old Glory detail. Post. Guests, please rise for the benediction and remain standing for the conclusion of the ceremony and the departure of the official party and their families.
Let us pray. Lord God, we thank you again for your presence with us this morning. We ask that you bless our retiree, Dean Vanderlay, and his family on this new phase of life. Give him satisfaction in retirement and many, many years of health, well-being, and prosperity. Go before him as he finds new ways to continue to serve our nation. Be with us all as we go from this place. God bless us and our co-workers, our shipmates, and God bless these United States of America. In your great and holy name we pray. Amen.
Bosun, post aside, boys. Following time-honored naval tradition, Rear Admiral Vanderlay now requests permission from Admiral Kilby to go ashore for the final time. Bell ringer. Strike 6 bells. Rear Admiral, United States Navy, retired, and family departing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending our ceremony today. You are cordially invited to a reception at the Navy Museum.